Truth be told, the weirdos are the only ones that will win in life. The weirdos, they'll win in life, and in fact, on top of that, these weirdos will make everybody else's life amazing. Dead serious, if you think about how we look at things, the weirdos are the ones that do things no one else would do. They create stuff that makes no sense. They do things you go, what is the weird person? Hold on, you're gonna actually make this thing that people could sit in, there's an engine inside and it drives people around. What are you talking about? We got horses. Where the weirdos go, you know, what are you gonna make this connection to the internet where I can post videos and talk to people? With social media? That's crazy, right? These weirdos, they do these things, all of us look at them, we make fun of them. We go, oh, you're crazy, you wanna go into space? Okay, Elon Musk is going to space, right? And we create these little weird things where we put them in pockets and call them weirdos. What's nuts about it is these people we love. We love to watch them, to pay attention to them, to hear what they think, to hear what they say. They're the rappers, the actors, the athletes, the entrepreneurs. They do these things, and really, if you think about comparatively what these individuals do, it is weird to the average. The average human, if we look at statistically the average, that would probably be, let's say non-actors, non-rappers, non-TV stars. There's probably a good society-wise, maybe 80%. At minimum, my guess is 80% of people are not that, which means there's a group of individuals that are sitting in a higher tier or a different tier that people want to pay attention to and look at. And what happens is statistically, because they do something different, they are statistically weirdos. They are people that do things that don't make sense. And if you don't actually lean into being weirder, you're not going to have a life of abundance and crazy cool stuff. You'll live the same life of mediocrity and normalcy that everybody else lives. And maybe mediocrity isn't the word, but it's comparatively mediocre to certain people. It might be great for you, and if it is and you're happy, love that. But if you're not happy, if you want more, you must get to the point where you start saying, I'm not sorry to have this happen. I want to be great, which means I have to do great things. I gotta be a weirdo. And I don't feel bad telling you this. I don't feel bad sitting here telling you, if you want to have more, you have to do something different. You have to create something different, operate a different way. Because all of us, if we think about it, all of us are doing things that feel normal, that feel the same, that for a lot of individuals, people just go, oh yeah, that's what should be done. And if that's the case, if somebody looks at you and goes, yeah, it makes sense, I see why they're doing it, you aren't being weird enough to be great. You just aren't. You aren't being weird enough for doing enough things. For me, it was very weird at one point to step into areas that weren't normal to me. As an example, man, at one point I did this American Ninja Warrior TV show. I've now been the first former NFL athlete to hit a buzzer on the show. And it's weird for an NFL athlete to do that. I'm a guy that I'm not made to hang by my hands and swing my body from pole to pole. Most of those people, they're like rock climbers. They're 5 foot nothing to 5'8", at most 180 pounds, whereas I come in at about 225 to 240. I'm a bigger human. And I happen to have these weird muscles on my hands that allow me to have some crazy grip strength from sports I played. And so I am a weirdo, man. Comparatively to them, I'm weird. And the rest of society, it's weird to be a football player, let alone a football player that goes on television and hangs by his hands with his t-shirt off and just shorts in the middle of the night running around doing these obstacle courses. Yeah, it's weird, but man, my life is cool, right? I get to go and do something that nobody else would do, to express and experience life in a way nobody else would experience. And so because of that, I get to live this cool life that not only I get to have some weird, nuanced experiences, but also my kids get to see, my wife gets to see, my friends get to see this guy do this thing that's like, this is crazy, right? It's the coolest part of life, but it's the weirdo. The weirdo in me gets to run around and be free. And I'm saying this to say that everybody can be a weirdo. Everyone in some way can be a weird individual and try something new and really get it to a point of caring less and enjoying their life more. That's what it's all about, is to care less about others and enjoy my life in different ways that most people can't. Because everything I get to do, I enjoy for the most part. There are a few things in my life I'm subjected to off of just sheer, I have to do it. And because of that, my life's pretty stinking cool, man. I get to try and be and do and all these different out of the box things. And so that's what I want to ratchet in for you right now. Today's video, I want to talk about this. I wanted to be clear to you kind of how you can move in the direction of being more weird, to care less and actually accomplish and do more, to have more fun in life. And the first thing for me stepwise is be present of how you're thinking in real time. Kind of a weird way to go to begin with, right? If you think about it, it's weird, and it is. But I don't think a lot of us actively look at our brains when faced with a situation that feels weird. We just say, nope, not doing that, and we walk away from it. We don't process, why is it weird? Why is your brain thinking it's weird? Why don't you actually give yourself a moment to pause and breathe and go, okay, why would I not do this? Should I just try this thing? A lot of the things I do in my life nowadays, I go, well, why would I not do it? That's literally my brain goes, why would I not do it? It's weird, but I'm gonna do that anyways. My wife is a weirdo too, man. She actually at one point in time recently decided that she wanted to go take up her real estate license. So she's a real estate agent now, and it's just a weird thing, but it's cool. She experienced something new and different in life. She's also 38, 39 here pretty soon, running track, collegiate track. Most people at 39 years old aren't doing that. 38 years old, she'll tell you. It's weird, right? It is weird, but that's the thing, is now you get to do something unique and cool. And what happened was conversation came to pass. Let's just say her, for example, and it was, you know what? You got your master's from college, you got your master's in what you do, you run a business that's successful, and your son runs track, and you do what's called master's track, essentially old people track. Above 35 years old, you can do track as long as you want. And someone was like, hey, what'd you run in college? She goes, I didn't run in college. She goes, did you ever start like at all? Nope. You know you can still run track then, right? What do you mean? Yeah, you can go run track because, based on the way the age runs, you are at an age where you can still go and compete even though you're older because you never started your athletic clock. Well, that's weird, right? But the mind in the moment would initially go like, I'm too old for that. I'm not doing that. But her mind goes, no, wait, what? I can do that? And so she started training and now she's a monster, right? And the idea is it's an in the moment mentality because that moment determines the trajectory of where someone chooses to go. Because in that moment, if the brain goes, nah, it's too weird and it runs in one direction, we never get to see what she's capable of. She lives an entire life without knowing what she could have done when she went and performed and competed. But now we know because she chose that direction to go weird, and we as a family supported the weirdness. And I go and help her team as a strength coach so she has teammates and she herself can be dialed in to be a great athlete, right? There's a whole nuance that typically for many people, it's just weird. And I think that the weirdness is the best part about life when you can actually embrace it. Like really embrace the weird that is the human experience, the human adjustment, because really all of us do things that are weird. The fact that we jump out of planes and we drive in vehicles that typically are just death machines going crazy fast that could hit each other and we could all get hurt. We get in tubes, metal tubes, and we go up into the sky at 35,000 feet and go 700 miles an hour to go from place to place. This stuff is just weird. When you hear it like that, right, you're like, what in the world? Yeah, it is kind of weird. It's kind of crazy, right? Or we go out in this open ocean with this little boat that doesn't really have much security. If one of the waves want to do, it could tip us over if it had a mind of its own. So the idea of this is that we do weird things, but we don't actually think about it in the moment. In the moment, we let our brain go to the direction of normalcy. We say, hey, weird's that 20%. It feels awkward. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be cast out from my crowd or my tribe. So I'm going to stay small in this space, and we pull ourselves back to some weird little hole. And so what happens is the first step of not caring, right, to get to the point of caring less and enjoying life more is for you to go to the point of going, you know what, I'm going to, in the moment of life, practice some form of awareness so that I can actually focus on what I want to do that might be weird, but in the long run leads to a way more enjoyable life. That's the big key. The next one is you want to indulge in hobbies. Like it's all about trying new stuff, man. When we were we were kids, we were told that the world was this big, you could do all these things, right? Imagine having like this big, broad, just view we can see, panoramic view of all the things life could provide for us. You could be an astronaut, you could be a teacher, you could be an athlete, you could be a dentist, whatever it is you wanted to do. And with that, it means that life was wide open. But as we get older, we start going down a pathway, and then that little viewpoint gets smaller and smaller and smaller until eventually all you see as possible is what's in this little tight viewpoint. The viewfinder, we'll call it. And that viewfinder is interesting because within the viewfinder, there's very minimal hobbies and different actions and tasks that we choose to do. But there's a grandiose space of life that is well beyond what you're looking at. You could do, free diving. You could do scuba diving. You could go hunting for, fish. Hunting for fish is called fishing, right? You can go and be a skydiver. You can go and be a pilot. You could do so many things you could think of. I'm rattling random things off. You can be a fidget spinner pro, right? But the idea is you can do all these things, but we don't do all these things. We stay confined in a little box, in a little space. We live our life in this little bubble, and then we don't go very far from our house. We don't interact with people that aren't like us. And so we don't pick up hobbies that can intentionally really make us great and teach us more about ourselves. I find that some hobbies you might pick up might teach you a skill you can apply somewhere else to get great at it. So like if you wanted to be a simple linear space, if I want to be a better athlete, I better have a hobby of working out. If I can enjoy working out, enjoy training to get stronger and faster, more powerful, more flexible, I can translate that to another area of my life of athletics. Or if I maybe am doing athletics and I'm in this forced position, I have to learn how to communicate, navigate conversation, and deal with high tension, high pressure moments, well, I may relay that to a boardroom and be better in the corporate setting because I can go into a room with a lot of tension, a lot of competition, a lot going on, and I can still hold my own and be dialed and be clear and focused of mind, right? But what happens is it only takes place because I've indulged in some hobby that let me explore life and make it enjoyable, but at the exact same time, I was able to step in and do something that give me a peace of mind, a peace of control that really is a skill set developed that I can take somewhere else called the intangibles. See, these intangibles are a key piece of us finding out how to enjoy life at a different level. The intangibles are the things that give a perspective of how somebody functions, what our identity is. For when I walk into a new space in life with a different identity or different way of functioning and thinking about stuff, I in fact find more joy, more peace, more power, more success in that realm because of what I walked into that room with. But if you don't try weird things, you don't get those skill sets. You don't get to have that be the outcome for your life at some point later. So the second part is you've got to start indulging in more hobbies. Try more stuff that seems weird, but see what it can turn into for your life. The third part of this is embracing your quirks. If I want to care less and enjoy life more, I'm going to think about being confined or not being confined. I always think about that whole, there's a study or something they did where they put fleas in a jar. You know what I'm talking about. Fleas go in a jar, they jump out of the jar. They put a lid in the jar. The fleas only jump as high as the lid. They take the lid off. The fleas never jump above the lid again. And they never do. In fact, they breed and they still never jump above the lid because that lid used to be there, so they never never go above that lid. But they can leave it off forever. They'll never jump out, although they're physically capable of jumping out of the lid, right? Believe we're like fleas. I mean, there's probably some things that we could all do, we just don't do, which we could really get in trouble for if we go do crazy stuff in the world and try nuanced things. There's that whole Tower of Babel. They talk about that God left us to kind of do this whole thing, and we figured, hey, let's build a tower to heaven. We started doing it, and we were all together, and we were all doing this, and God's like, hold on, man, we got to figure this out. So what he did is he took us all back. He changed our ability to interact, so he made new languages, and he changed a chromosome so we couldn't do certain things or live a certain length of time because we were doing some interesting things. Our abilities were way beyond we should have been operating with, right? Kind of like fleas in a jar. And so the idea is in this aspect here, we have quirks that we don't let out. We don't fully express ourselves. There's ways we think and talk and joke and things we do, but we just keep it all tight and we never really express ourselves in the world. So we go into settings publicly and don't feel like we can be free. We don't open up. We don't express. We don't emote. We don't really live. We're alive but not living in these environments, and we wait to go home to be ourselves. And when we're doing these things, we're never really ourselves at a high level. And so it feels difficult. It feels, in my opinion, it feels crazy. So what we have to start doing is, in my thoughts of the future, is go into a realm where we start embracing more of our quirks, sharing more of who we are, doing weird things, saying weird stuff. Not because you want to be rude or negative or detrimental to anybody's life or your own, but you want to just embrace who you are, the authentic, unique you. Say things. You're going to get people that don't like it. Cool. Not your people anymore. Find the people who go, oh, I love it you do that. And those are the people you want to be around. It lights you up, man, because you can go and be you and be free and be open. Like, that's a different way to experience life. So if you can do that, go do that. And that's my thoughts for you today. Go apply this. Honestly, if you want to be able to care less and be able to enjoy life vastly more, you got to go in and practice some in-the-moment thought process. Mindfulness, we call it. You got to indulge in new hobbies and try things out, and you really have got to embrace your quirks. If you can try those three things and make them real-life practices and how you show up in the day, little by little by little by little, it'll be a game changer for who you see yourself to be in 5 years. That's it. Check this video out next because it's got a whole different way of thinking about this little concept you'll see here. Outside of that, as always, do the dark work so you can make shift happen.